Welcome to the home of WWE News Rumors and Gossip in real time. Click the bell, subscribe, and turn on all notifications today. Don't forget to become a channel member and send a super thanks donation below. And now, your host. He is the most consistent and dedicated in YouTube history, Seanzviewent.
Edibles are safe, they said. Marijuana could do no harm, they say. Well, a crazy rumor is exploding online right now that a top WWE superstar was found dead after eating the marijuana edible, or maybe marijuana edibles. Now, I saw this everywhere and it was shocking millions of people, so we had to find out, is it true? This headline is so insane, so specific, that you almost have to believe it. And in a world where fake news spreads faster than anything, a story like this can freak out an entire fan base in just a few hours. When you think about how physically demanding wrestling is and the demons that some of these superstars have fought, you can see why everyone started panicking. Because how many wrestlers have we lost due to something quite like this, something tragic like this? Well, but is any of it really real? Or is it just another sick internet hoax or rumor trying to profit off your fears? We had to know the truth. We attacked the rumors, the headlines, the speculation, the gossip. We dug through all the garbage. We found where the story started, and we checked out every single fact. And here is what we discovered in the perfect example of how a lie can travel around the entire world before the truth can even wake up. So today we are going to destroy this rumor piece by piece, show you exactly how it started, and prove why it's completely. We're going to get to the real story, which is actually way more interesting about WWE's secret. Massive changes of heart on marijuana. Before we get to it, you have to see how a lie like this gets so big. Faking celebrity deaths is nothing new. People have done it for years, but social media gave it superpowers. What used to be a tiny lie in a magazine is now a viral post, a Photoshop picture, or a clickbait video that gets blasted to millions of people around the world instantly. And they all use the exact same playbook. They use the super dramatic, emotional words. They use headlines that are always "Star Found Dead," and they use their lie and tie it into a real-life situation that seems more legitimate. In this case, the fact that everyone is talking about cannabis right now in edibles. And why do they do it? Well, it's simple. Clicks and money. The people who made this junk know the shock and fear that gets your attention. A worried fan clicks the link. They share it in a fan group, making sure if it's true or not. The algorithm sees people clicking and pushes it to even more people. Every single view just feeds the monster, making the lie even more real. They are literally profiting from your caring about people that you look up to. Debunking the rumor, the hard evidence. Here on Seanview, I'm about to give you the hard evidence. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Did a top WWE star die from a marijuana edible? The answer at this stage right now, as it would be, the answer right now is a solid no. Unequivocally, no. We can confirm that the story is completely false. It is a total lie. And as of right now in July 2025, nothing like this has happened yet. Not to say that it could happen or won't happen. The wrestler at the center of this hoax is alive and doing great, which is why we're not even going to say their name and give the trolls what they want. How are we so sure? Well, we went straight to the real source. First, WWE has said absolutely the company would release a statement immediately. We've heard total silence because there is no time at the stage. Of course, plans are always subject to change, okay? Like the WWE says on their events, their pay-per-views, their PLEs. Card subject to change. Second, not a single real news company or legit wrestling reporter has said a word about this, including me, Brash and the Brazen, because I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been giving you the news, the rumors, the headlines. And I come on here and I'll tell you if a rumor is true or not. Or I think there is something to it or not. The websites that have covered wrestling for decades are silent. The only place that this story is in the darkest corner of the internet. Sketchy channels, troll forums, and fake accounts. Third, the wrestler's own social media is completely normal. They are posting workouts, talking about their life, and promoting shows. There is a digital trail of evidence that proves that this is all a lie. However, we are in the world of AI, where a wrestler that was once dead can now be looking alive. I mean, there have been famous actors, actresses, stars, Hall of Famers, sports icons, legitimate Hollywood box office attractions that have been dead and now they're alive and talking due to AI. So there's a lot to this. There's a lot more going on. And finally, maybe the biggest proof of all, science. It is medically and scientifically possible to die from a marijuana overdose, according to those in the know. Taking too much, especially edible, can be a horrible experience. It can cause anxiety and paranoia, but it will not kill you like opiates or other drugs can. The whole idea of how hoax isn't just a lie, it's scientifically ridiculous. However, WWE's surprising shift on marijuana has now come to light because of this. What's crazy at this is that this dumb hoax is hiding a real story that's way more fascinating. WWE did a complete 180 on its marijuana policy. For decades, weed was a banned substance, and if you got caught, you were fined or even suspended in the WWE. Superstars like Rob Van Dam and Randy Orton got in huge trouble for it, and it was a clear violation of the wellness policy, the program that WWE started to protect its wrestlers after the untimely, shocking passing of Eddie Guerrero, who passed away. But that's all changed because early this year, WWE superstar Mitchin, who you might know as Mia Yim, went on a podcast and confirmed that WWE secretly took marijuana off the banned list a few years ago. She said that since weed is becoming more legal everywhere, their company kind of accepted it. This is a huge deal. Wrestlers can now use it on their own time without being afraid of getting in trouble. And this move makes a lot more sense. Society is changing its mind on cannabis. Plus, WWE's sister company, the UFC, did the same thing years ago. The logic is simple. In a job where you are in constant pain, cannabis is a safer way to manage that pain than prescription pills that have destroyed the lives of many in professional wrestling and even killed them. Former wrestlers like the Attitude Era favorite Val Venus said this for years. He said back in his day, his friends were on painkillers and were dying. They were dropping like flies, while the ones using marijuana were not. Even the legendary Ric Flair said that marijuana edibles helped him finally quit the anti-anxiety drug Xanax. This new policy is just WWE catching up with the reality. A history of real scares versus fake news. To understand why a fake story about a wrestler's death spread so fast, you have to know the industry's real tragic history. The wrestling world has lost way too many amazing people way too soon. The 90s and 2000s were a really dark time, filled with scandals about steroids and prescription painkiller abuse, and even in the 80s. The WWE wellness policy was created because of this darkness. It started right after Eddie Guerrero died from heart failure linked to his past steroid use. The entire point was to make wrestling safer with the drug testing and heart checkups. The policy has changed over the years, but the goal has always been to stop past tragedies from ever happening again. But here is the most important difference. These real tragedies were almost tied to steroids and prescription drugs, not marijuana. The Chris Benoit tragedy, one of the darkest moments in WWE history or pro wrestling as a whole, forced the entire industry to look at drug testing. That's because the real demons that the wrestling has been fighting are steroids and pharmaceuticals. And the real history is what makes you vulnerable to fake news, because fans have seen real tragedies. They have let their guard down when a new shocking story happens. The hoax creators know this. They bet that their fake story will feel real enough to fan base that has sadly been taught to expect the worst. The dangers of edibles, perception versus reality. Now, just because the death by edible rumor is completely fake, it doesn't mean edibles have zero risk. And we have to be honest about that. The experience can be completely different from smoking, and for some people, it can be terrifying. Just a few days ago, AEW Star has shared a story about a horrible experience that she had with a simple 10 milligram edible. She said that she felt completely paralyzed and that her mind spiraled into a storm of dark thoughts, making her believe that she was literally dying. The experience was so bad that she quit marijuana completely, terrified of what her own mind could do. Her story is an important warning that edibles can be unpredictable, especially if you don't use them often or if you're prone to anxiety. People make the mistake of taking more because they don't feel it. And then when it hits them, once it hits them and they feel completely overwhelmed, it can lead to massive anxiety and full-on panic attacks. So while an edible won't kill you, it can unleash an incredible, scary psychological experience. This is real conversation that we should be having about edibles, not some ridiculous fake story about them being deadly. Deonna Purrazzo, who is part of AEW, was brave enough to share her experience in a real lesson that's worth more than 1,000 fake news headlines. CTA and concussion. So here is the bottom line. The hoax The rumor that a top WWE star died from a marijuana edible is a complete and total hoax. Now, it was created to scare you to make money from clicks. The wrestler is fine and the story is medically impossible. The real story here is about change. WWE made a massive progressive update to its wellness policy. It's admitting that the world is changing and that cannabis might be a safer option for its athletes to deal with the pain that comes with being a wrestler or a UFC fighter. This is a complex topic with a long history, and it deserves a real conversation, not a cheap lie. That's what we do here on Seanzviewent. We talk about rumors that don't happen. We'll come back and say, all right, well, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, or there was a change. We always try to be real and upfront with the viewers, the fans, and the subscribers. The best way to fight this garbage is to be smart about what you see online. Before you share something, before you panic, check the source. Look for real news outlets. Go check the person's official social media. If the story is huge and is only being reported by sketchy accounts you've never heard of, it is almost certainly fake. If you found this video helpful, make sure to share it, subscribe, comment, interact, become a channel member today to help keep my channel on YouTube, because viewers, I'll tell you what, it's been rough and tough here on YouTube the last several weeks, and we really need the support. If you become a channel member, you go one step closer to saving my future and helping me remain on YouTube.com. So now we are going to separate fact from fiction as much as we can, as hard as we can do it for you. What is the craziest wrestling rumor that you have fallen for? Thanks for watching. Stay safe and always question what you read, see, or hear online, because you just never ever know what is going to go down. But you can always expect the unexpected on the brash and the brazen. Seanzviewent, as I fill you in on the hottest, the latest, the greatest, the most in-depth, the most thorough, because we give you the most developments. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I'm asked, Sean, why do you do so many videos a day? Why do you do so many updates a day? Well, it's very simple. To keep you updated. To keep you in the scoop. In case there's any changes, or if there's any latest, or if there's any developments, or if there's, like I said, if there's anything different about the news or the rumors that I'm talking about for the day, I bring you up to speed, because that's what I do, and that's what I believe in. It's simple. It's really organic. It's really natural, kind of like marijuana. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the place to get it. Your #1 news source, the unapologetic, brash, and brazen. Now, could a wrestler star, I'll be honest, could a wrestling star go too far with edibles? Yeah, they could go too far with it. What really happened when a WWE wrestler overdosed on edibles? Breaking news, WWE star's hospitalization linked to marijuana edibles. Now, yes, it is true that you can go to a hospital because you're having panic and anxiety and depression and whatnot. You could get that. You could get ill effects from a marijuana edible, or just smoking, or just eating it, or putting it in a cookie, or putting it in your favorite lunch, or putting it in your favorite drink. I mean, there's many, many, many ways that things can go really good, or they can go really bad with marijuana. Like, make no mistake about it, but at no time should you be driving while high. That is the bottom line. And there's so many people nowadays, it's just as bad as texting and driving, just as bad as drinking and driving. You do not want to be high and get behind a wheel, because at that point, there is no appeal. Subscribe, with plenty more to come from the brash and the brazen one.